Coach, Menlo kind of pushed back a little bit in that second half and kind of held it close. What'd you feel like they did well, or maybe that you guys needed to, learn from? And how exciting is it to just get that first win out of the way?
Well, obviously, it's great to, first of all, open up with a home game, instead of being on the road a couple games, and that just helps, iron out some of the rough spots that you have. And hats off to Menlo and their persistence. I thought they really stuck with it. A couple times we had 6, 8, or 10, pushing towards a 10-point lead, and seems like right at that point we get a little foul call where we were, moving screen. I think we had 2 or 3 moving screens. I think we had a foul one time where we made a 3-pointer and then we get a foul running underneath the hoop. Some pivotal points, and give them credit for staying with it. They attacked our matchup a couple different ways, and we had to keep adjusting to it. They hit some big shots, and I think it was hard for both Tuca and Hank to guard the shorter, quicker guys that had bodies that jumped into them or stretched them out a little bit. We didn't get much guard help off that, and we have to learn how to recognize what their attacking points are and when they're overloading it. But I thought the seniors were just outstanding. I thought the seniors played like seniors, acted like seniors. For the most part, we had a little dust up with Cuba at mid-court, but I think his maturity let him come back in and really have a great decision making. I thought what I told the team was that they had a great week of practice going into it. The rest of the guys started getting tired after about 4 weeks of practice. It was pretty average. The seniors started dialing in as we got closer to games. And when you look at the stat sheet, you can see what maturity is. You can see what it is to have that much experience in the game. And even Mark Crow has a lot of experience. We got in that foul trouble, and then we were able to play him 20 minutes in the second half. Hank ended up with some fouls, and then fell down with the injury, and I think he was a little bit out of rhythm from that action. But we're going to have to keep on developing the bench. Like Jared Rice, two freshmen that really contributed for us was Jared Rice gave us an energy shot defensively. And I thought Tuca off the bench for a freshman at 6'10", 220. He's got a tremendously bright future. He's got great poise, hands, understands the game, and it was great to see him have success.
Yeah, you saw Tuca and Job and Junior kind of get their first action for newcomers.
Yeah.
What were your feelings about those guys in terms of how they?
Well, responded? I think they all, at time that Job and Junior wanted to do something, but the speed and the quickness and the intensity of what was there. It's the first game, there's nothing more that you can do but get out in that court and have that experience. Job's much better than he showed tonight, and Junior has some athleticism that showed on a couple of drives, but I think that defensively, where they both got to bring it is they got some. I thought the first 3 minutes of the second half, Junior
Job.
Let's back that up. That was J team here. Job came out defensively and gave him some ball pressure. Created a foul and a turnover. It gave us a little bit of spurt there. We just have to have that every possession. I think those guys have got the quickness and athleticism and intelligence to be a lot better defensively. In defense of them, we run a very complicated matchup zone. And so there's 5 ways to do everything. And when you're thinking, you stop working hard and stop getting that ball pressure. So we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, looking forward now, you have Arizona coming up. Different kind of inside attack, but Menlo was able to get in the paint some tonight. What are you expecting from Arizona? What do you guys have to shore up to?
Well, first of all, Arizona's guard quickness and perimeter quickness and ability to create a shot. It's like they have 3 guys like Donovan Fields that can break you off the dribble and stop and pop a 3. I think they're exceptionally skilled guard play. That's number one. You got to be able to shorten the court up and get more help and be in a better position in that direction. And then respect how far out guys can shoot. I thought if we looked at some of the stats that we had against them, they were 8 for 16 from the 3-point line. And I thought that 2 or 3 of those we just got eyed up. It's like, you got to get all the way out there. The Nemo kid, 0. We had talked about it for 5 days. He's a primary shooter. He's going to shoot. Twice I thought when he took his shots, we looked at it like, well, he's not going to shoot from that far out. Yeah, well, Arizona's got 3 of those guys. So learning how far out you have to defend, and then how physical you have to be in the post without fouling. And quite frankly, coaching can't really prepare guys for that. I'm sure that Kentucky was going to try to prepare a lot of things for Duke's onslaught. Until you put those guys on the floor, coaching doesn't really matter that much until they experience it a little bit. And I'm sure that Arizona was really trying to be prepared against Chaminade the other night, and it was a two-point game with 4 minutes to go. And they obviously woke up tonight and crushed Houston Baptist. So we know how good they are, how well they're coached, and we know how much of a challenge we have. But we also don't fear that. Cal Poly's gone into UCLA and beat UCLA in their top 20. We've got to USC and beat USC. And we embrace these opportunities to go into Arizona and try to pull an upset.
What does it mean for kind of the program to really just kind of get that national kind of like eyes on you guys, not always, and then again the Pac-12 and everything like that?
Well, first of all, we got a really big paycheck, and that's really important. Okay, I'm not going to make any bones about that. One of the reasons we play them is they pay us. They will not be coming. The favorite question I have is, when is Arizona going to come back here? You're not going to see Arizona in Mott Gym. Now, if somebody wants to donate $100,000, we can talk about it. But that there's some finances that go on with that. Number two, I think it's great for recruiting. To be a national televised game, we can talk to all the recruits around the world. Say, hey, Pac-12 Network, you can see it with good announcing. Who knows, Steve Lavin, whoever is going to be announcing the game. It helps with our finances, and it helps with our recruiting. And it helps our current players understand speed, quickness, and toughness and execution that we got to have. So I think that's a big part of it. Is those three are the primary reasons that we got to do that.
You mentioned your seniors kind of had a huge role in that second half, and obviously Donovan Fields finished with a career high of 30 points. He had 22 of those points in the second half. What was he able to do? Just kind of consistently provide offense for the team and be a leader on the defensive side as well?
Yeah, well, there's two things. First, Job was playing point, and we need Job to play the point, take the ball out of Don's hands so he can come off some screens and get some action. And then after he fatigued, I felt like Don could go 10 straight minutes, so we moved him back to the top point, let him go, just opened up the court a little bit more for him, and made some adjustments so he could just had more space to play. And so I think that you saw how explosive he is, and that's why we're really trying to find a point guard to play with him. I want Donovan Fields to play more like Allen Iverson, and that's what I thought you saw tonight, is the freedom he had to play off the ball, and then the freedom to move him back to the point, get an on-ball screen, get open space, try to score. I thought the only poor decision that he really made was when he had a nice little 15-foot jumper, and he saw Marcellus in the corner of his eye towards the end and tried to make that pass. And I thought maturity was that Don was upset himself for turning it over, and Marcellus they just pointed at each other and said, hey, sorry. And they ran back and played defense. And that's the maturity that you get from seniors that played a lot, is that, okay, we screwed up, next play. And that's when you really are proud of your kids.
And as we've mentioned, Donovan Fields put up a career high 30 points tonight. Do you feel like you guys, because you're, like we said, are a much younger team, are you guys going to need to lean on some of the older people that have been around a little bit more? Are you going to look for the younger guys to step up here within the next couple games? What's kind of your guys' goal moving forward?
Yes, and hopefully. Yes, we're going to have to lean on our seniors. They're going to play a lot of minutes. They're going to have to produce. They're going to have to be in great shape, physically, mentally, emotionally. But the juniors, Hank Hollingsworth and Mark Crow, are going to have to get quality minutes. The freshmen are going to have to keep on developing when their opportunities there. But I really feel like Job has got a great potential for us. He's a pretty steady kid. He's been great in school. He's been great with practice in the weight rooms. Just got to get the speed and time. And I don't think that happens in 2 games. I think that it happens in 7 to 14 games. Let me give you a quick little stat here. When Donovan Fields first came to Cal Poly, after his first 10 games, he had a 2-to-1 assist-turner ratio. That was twice as many turnovers as assists. Okay, I think Don had at one point 20 turnovers and 10 assists, and he had one game 4 travelings. He was so quick and so excited to do too much. The next 10 games, he was 1-to-1 assist-turnover ratio. The last 10 games of Donovan's sophomore year as a transfer, he was 2-to-1 the good way. So that was a 30-game evolution of Donovan Fields. We forget about that right now when you see a guy just scored 30 points and how many assists, steals. and so forth. So it takes time, and I always try to look at stats in 10-game blocks. You know, I try not, you know, you look at stats after 2 or 3 games. Heck, you know, I might look like I'm a great scorer out there. You know, it's like, oh, Callero had 8 points. Well, guess what? He had 8, and then he had 2, and then he had 4. Well, not really that good a score. So I think that this is something that we're gonna have to take over chunks of 10 games. 10 games. Let's talk about it again. But they need 10 games. Shake it off, figure it out. Plus, you gotta remember, probably 8 or 9 of those 10 games are gonna be on the road for us, and you're tired, and you're still going to class, and you're still getting homesick. So you gotta take that into account. Then guys go home, get a little break, and they get 10 more games. Then you see who they really are the last 10 games of the season.
Joe, some roster, just housekeeping early in the season, sometimes redshirting guys. Are there guys that you guys have made decisions about that? And
Yeah.
how is Hank's shoulder? And just health-wise, how are you guys? I know there were a couple guys that didn't get off the bench who are freshmen.
Yeah. Local player here, Kyle Colvin, will redshirt this season. He'll travel with us everywhere. Colin McCarthy, the walk-on, will redshirt with them. 2 transfers there, Keith and Nolan, are ineligible this time, and then Carlise just got a shot. Cortisone, his knee will be out probably a good 3 weeks, 2 weeks of rehab, and then maybe practice. And so, whatever game that puts us at, where he starts getting enough practice, gives a contribution. So we're gonna have to go on that nasty road trip without Carlos. So we'll have 10 healthy bodies there. We played 9 tonight, I believe, with Jared Rice being the 9th man, and Daxon Carr's got a possibility of being in that mix. What happened tonight, though, was simply that Kuba and Mark were so good defensively, covering up for the top guys' mistakes or the high post mistakes, that when Kuba's playing like that, it's going to be hard for Daxon to smell the court. But we anticipate that he will be in the rotation, maybe not a consistent rotation, but an opportunity to contribute. We will not be redshirting him this year. He needs to play and feel the intensity of the court there. So we got 10 healthy bodies that can go right now, and we feel comfortable going to the road trip like that. And certainly Daxon will get some opportunities as we play, something like 5 games in 9 days. When we start at Sac State, WSU, 3 at the Portland tournament, we're gonna need a dip down to at 10. But I wasn't looking to try to play 10 guys tonight. I was looking to try to get our seniors to lead, get some freshmen, a couple freshman experience, and see how those other guys develop, and try to win the game tonight.
And just one last thing. So for that 7-game road trip coming up, do you feel like this is kind of more of an experimental phase of the season, or do you feel like you guys have a plan you want to execute and you want to see it executed over those 7 games?
Yeah, I'd say we definitely want to execute. I mean, experimentation might be something that you look at when you have a lot of guys that are equal. You have a lot of guys that are, hey, we got 10, 12 guys, and we might be able to start different lineups and play different ways. I don't feel that. I feel like we have 3 really strong seniors, and we got a couple juniors that can really contribute. We've got some freshmen that we think will find a way and to add some minutes there. But I think what we saw tonight is what we have, and then what we can potentially develop. I think it's just much more like what you see is what you get right now. You get Donovan Fields, could be an all-conference player, can be a 20-point night scorer, but we got to put him in different spots. We got to have other guys setting good screens without the foul. We got to have a lot of those things that go on. Understanding what Don can do and embracing that. I think Marcellus embraced it. He waited for his moments. Marcellus played a really mature game, and Kuba played a really mature game, and Don played a really mature game. And I think that's great leadership for the other guys to look at that and go, wow, he just handles it. Keep handling it. But it's hard. You got to go through it. It's like international travel. Until you're there, you can't explain it. You got to have the smell of the city. You got to hear those noises. You got to hear different voices talking. And you can't get that by watching TV. I watch basketball all the time. Congratulations. Have you played in a Division I game? Have you watched a Division I game from the floor? Have you seen how quick and how quick the players are, how strong the players are, how much people get away with? And that's what they're going to learn from it. So excited to go to Arizona. Let's go.
All right.